Now.
Hello and good evening, everyone. This evening's cameraman is my son. Last time it was my daughter. And he will let me know who's on board. If there's no one on board, I'm going to be talking to myself. No, actually welcome whoever is on board now. I think there's already someone on board. There's no one on board.
Not yet.
Okay, then we will wait. And I'm going to ask my son to slowly just zoom in on some of the spices, and we will redo it for all those of you who are there. All right?
First person.
Yes, and hello, how are you? Welcome on board. Today, as you know, it's going to be in English. All three of you, could you just type in your names? I'd love to say hello to you. I don't know who you are, but my son will let me know.
Okay. No typing yet, but 4 people are now on
Okay, 4, yeah, welcome on board. I'm going to keep saying that just for a little while until we have a little more, because they are coming, we know that.
6.
Thank you. Okay, all right, I'm going to start now.
Yeah.
I'm going to say welcome to all of you, no matter how many you are. I know we have a fantastic group tonight. This particular evening has been advertised by so many, not only by me, but by others. And it's not going to be an Emirati evening, which is an exception. It's going to be a Persian or Iranian evening. How many of you are Persian or half Persian or were in Iran or lived in Iran? Any of you? Hands up. No one? I'll tell you a story. I can tell you anything then. No, I'll tell you the true story. A true story. About 27 years ago, is it 27 years ago? Yeah, more or less, 27 years ago, I lived in Iran. My son was already born, and I was there with my husband, and we had also part of the other family come as well, and I was pregnant with my daughter, and then the decision came, should I give birth to my daughter in Tehran, or should I fly to Germany or to my family in Canada? I thought, no, I'm going to take the adventure and give birth to my daughter in Iran. That was an adventure, I can tell you that right now. I'm going to make a very long story short. I gave birth in a hospital that was not planned. It was Pars Hospital, it's still there. And there's a missile, an Iraqi missile. The only spot available for me to give birth to my daughter, next to the missile. I knew there was a missile, I just did not want to concentrate on the missile. I was concentrating on literally giving birth to my daughter. And the doctor said, look, Alexandra, just before giving birth, please hold. Do you think that the German embassy, where my husband worked, will have sufficient funds to remove the rocket or the missile? I said, you know what, I have no idea. And first of all, I'm not German, I'm Canadian. Please go to the Canadian embassy. He was so confused. Tamara arrived. I named my daughter after the Tamra, which means date in Farsi or in Persian, as in Arabic as well, and her name is Tamara. So that is, I was there long enough, 3 years, to have learned many recipes, their culture, and I adventured 28 years or 27 years ago on my own, mainly driving the 4-wheel drive Land Cruiser and driving everywhere where perhaps we shouldn't have driven to, but I did. And I came home with many recipes from neighbors, from the women in the country, from men in the country as well. And tonight we're going to learn we're going to experience, not only learn, we're going to experience. This is the whole idea. We're going to feel into it the way the Iranians do. They love to feel and touch the food. And they maintain, Iranians in the country, they maintain that every aspect of the food has its own energy. Cold, warm, warm, cold, warm. And it has less to do with the temperature, but it will affect your body with the temperature. And it also has its own energy without judging whether or not it's a cold, warm food aspect. So it's for you this evening. I'm going to try to transmit what has been given to me as legacy by a wonderful Iranian man. I think he must have been close to his 80s. And the name of the recipe is tahin. Tahin, not tahini, but tahin, which is baked rice. We will cook the rice first for a couple of minutes, mix it with exotic spices, and guess what? None other than the major spice. Do you know the major spice used in Iran? Do you know, any of you? If you feel like just writing or texting, let me know, I'll wait. There's one major, although there are numerous, not many. We're not in India, we're not in the Emirates, we're in Iran, and they use some spices. All right, any of you?
No answers yet.
Okay, no answers, no problem. I'm going to reveal to you saffron. What else is there? Saffron. And why saffron? There is a secret. According to the Iranians, before the Persians, they maintained that saffron is very calming, very soothing for those of us who are sad, for those of us who are crying, for those of us who are melancholic, for those of us who are depressive. There is saffron tea, and they decided with time to experiment more and more with saffron, and almost every dish has saffron. Simply warming, exquisite, and a complete taste. It has that complete aspect to it. All right, shall we start cooking? All right, get your pencils out, or your pen, your notebooks, and if you wish, jot down the recipe. Okay, as you can see, I have water boiling, and I'm going to ask my son to come a little closer. We have 2 liters of water. I washed and rinsed my basmati rice from India. Unfortunately, it's very difficult, in fact, actually it's impossible to get Iranian rice. Iranian rice has a completely different flavor, similar to basmati, but a little thicker, and has a completely different flavor, but similar enough to basmati. All right, since I've washed and rinsed, I'm going to pour the rice into the hot water, and I will leave it there to boil about 5 minutes, not longer. We will parboil it only. I'm just going to quickly mix it, and we'll do one more mixing after I have added 2 tablespoons of salt. You want the water to taste a little bit like the ocean. Otherwise, the rice does not have a taste. All right, so 2 liters of water, 2 tablespoons of salt. Perfect. 1 and 2. Here we go. And we're going to bring it to a boil. And once the rice has risen, you will see, then we will let it boil just a little bit longer, and then it will be parboiled. I'm going to take some of the grains out afterwards and show you the difference. In fact, I'm going to show you the raw version of my rice. You can see the grains, and this is Tilda, T-I-L-D-A, Indian rice, one of the best basmati rice going. And you will see once I've cooked only parboiled, they will have almost doubled in size and width. Okay, I'm going to put this away. And in the meantime, this particular tajin is comprised of rice and something that will hold the rice while you're baking it, so that when I flip it out, it will stay in shape. So what we put in there? We start with the decoration and with what we're going to be putting into the rice. So what are we going to do? Of course, saffron. What else is there? I have 2 tablespoons of warm water, and I have saffron here, 1 teaspoon, and it's a lot, by the way. I know saffron is very, very expensive. We're talking about close to 75 euros for 100 grams of the best Iranian saffron. I'm going to simply put this into my mortar and pestle from my silver coffee cup. Okay, and here we go. We can show how it looks like, Nikolai. There we go. And I'm now going to powderize it. Can we take a little close up here? It goes relatively fast, and you don't have to add any sugar, although Iranians, they like to put some salt crystals or some sugar crystals in order to powderize it. But I have a very, very good mortar and pestle, and it just does its perfect job. Okay, so now we're going to transfer the saffron into the warm water, and we're going to leave it seeping there until it has, see, look at this beautiful color. Look at this. It's so special, and it has this fantastic fragrance. Slightly nutty, slightly acidic, but not much. Very, very, very light tone of acidity. It has a bit of that flowery, croquet smell, if you can remember how that smells. I'm not going to wash this away. I leave it in there. And if I mix it with the other spices, that's fine with me. Okay, so we're going to put this back. We're going to mix it and simply leave it to seep. See, even the spoon has this beautiful yellow-orange color. And I don't have any more example. I should have shown you this before, but saffron is made from strands. It's, in other words, it's composed of strands from the croquet flower. One end is a little thicker, the other end is very thin. And it has to smell slightly nutty, and you can actually test the fragrances at, for example, if you happen to be in Dubai, or at any shop where the saffron is kept closed, lid, not open, because the flavors are gone. Do not buy open saffron. It has to be closed. And if you're able to smell it and taste it, then you're on your way to buy very good saffron. Try, if you can, to buy the best quality Iranian. Absolutely wonderful. The Spanish one is originally from Iran, but the composition of the minerals in their earth is a little different than that from Iran. It's not better, or it's just different, and I prefer the one from Iran. Okay, so it's boiling. My rice is boiling. We have the saffron in the water. And what we are going to do in the meantime is to prepare the decoration and what is going to go inside the rice. Part one. It's half a cup. According to the recipe, it's only half a cup. If you follow my recipe, it's actually 1 cup. 1 cup, full cup of barberries. Let me show you what a barberry is. Barberries are from a shrub, and they grow wild also, cultivated and as well as wild in Iran, as well as in Germany, in other parts of Europe, along the train tracks especially. I wouldn't eat them from the train track because they're heavily chemicals in order to kill the weeds along the train tracks here in Germany. But I buy them organic, and they come from Iran, and they're called barberries, or in Farsi, Persian, zereshk. Z-E-R-E, zereshk, S-H-K, zereshk. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, as the Iranians or the Persians, they love to use butter. So here we go, we're going to use the butter. So here, one. And we're going to let it melt. And I'm going to show you in the meantime, look at this beautiful, beautiful rice. It's parboiled. It breaks easily. It's soft outside, but crispy inside. And we're ready to use the colander. So I'm going to simply switch the fire off. And my son is going to follow me. There we go. So, I'm sorry, that was a bit loud. We're going to let the water drop out a little bit. And here we go. We're going to leave this here for the next couple of minutes. And I'm going to ask my son to show you the rice. And as you can see, I have melted the butter. Now, what I call butter, what we use is predominantly clarified butter. Or if my son goes towards the jar, we use ghee or ghee, clarified butter, which is available here in Germany as well. And if you don't have it available at your stores, Amazon certainly has that. It's not cheap. You can either clarify the butter yourself, as long as all the milk solids have been removed. And for those of you who are vegan, you can use oil, or or you also have vegan butter if you want to use that. Perfect. Okay, it's becoming warm and it's actually hot enough. I'm going to bring it down to medium, to 60%. And from this lovely Iranian plate. Just going to drop the barberries in here. And by the way, they have to be moved constantly because barberries, they burn very, very quickly. What we're looking for is for the barberries to bubble up or to bloat up. And it happens very fast. It's usually under 1 minute. Here we go, we're almost there. It has a lovely, lovely fragrance. This has an acidic, for those of you, acidic fragrance, and it tastes acidic. It's not sweet at all. It's actually very sour. One of the reasons why Iranians like to mix it with a little bit of sugar when they use it for their rice meals or for the dishes. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, we're going to ask for Nicolai to come with a close-up. And they're bubbling up. See, they're actually moving on their own. Okay, now we're ready. It's done. So I'm just going to move this to the side. And in the meantime, what we are going to do is preheat the oven. I'm going to pull this out of here. Okay, we're going to preheat the oven to 200 Celsius, top and bottom heat, just in preparation for our dish. Okay, our next step. We take a dish where you can fit in about 1 liter. I'm using coconut fat. Now you can use oil, you can use ghee or clarified butter. So the vegans, you know what to do, coconut butter or vegan margarine or oil. And you just brush very thickly with 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons. Make sure it's absolutely well covered with your butter, or in this case with coconut butter. I prefer the coconut butter. And on the sides, and you can put it close up here, Nicolai. There we go. Otherwise, you will not be able to unmold it. So make sure that your every corner has been well greased. Okay, we're going to leave this as is. I'm going to put it to the side. And what comes now is how are we going to put the rice together? In other words, how will it maintain? How will it stick together? Very easy. Now I'm going to be taking, you can write down, 3 eggs. Now for those of you who are vegan, 1 egg is equal to 3 tablespoons of water and 1 tablespoon of powdered linseed. And that 3 times, I would add another tablespoon for each. I would add 4 tablespoons leveled of water to 1 tablespoon of leveled linseed powderized. And then you leave it standing for maybe 3-4 minutes, and that's equivalent to eggs. That your dish will taste different, but you will have similar results. So if you're into that, or you have a better idea, and if you have a better idea, let me know. Okay, so we're going to put both 3 eggs in here. Sorry, I'm going to be using the egg yolks only. I made a mistake. Not a problem. We're just going to remove the egg white. Okay, egg yolk, perfect. The egg white we can use later for dessert. There we go. 3 egg yolks. And then I have, yes, yogurt. We're going to be using yogurt. Again, for the vegan, you have coconut yogurt, or your, I think there's another yogurt, there's soya yogurt. However, I strongly recommend, if you can, is the coconut yogurt. Absolutely exquisite. So I will use half. This is 500 ml. About half. And if there's a little more, that's all right too. Perfect. And now we're going to be adding a little bit of salt, which is about 1 teaspoon. Sorry, half a teaspoon. This is half a teaspoon, by the way. There we go. And we're going to be adding, in addition to all this, there's yogurt, there's, oh yes, the oil. We have to add oil. And here I have 125 milliliters of oil, or a quarter cup. There we go, quarter cup. And then we have yogurt, salt, oil. Oh yes, and the saffron. Here we go. I'm going to be pouring that in. This is beautiful. Look, just look at the color. Very bright, and that's how our rice will look like as well. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just going to have I need a spoon if you have. Thank you. And the rest of the saffron has to go in there. We're not going to waste any of it. It's so lovely. Okay, and now we're going to mix it. Any of you with any questions? Is it okay so far? Are you having fun? I hope you are. I hope you are. Okay. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? And you can see the saffron threads. Some of them are still there, and that's beautiful. Gives a wonderful character to the rice as far as the aesthetics are concerned, and the flavor. Not to talk about the flavor, it's just going to be lovely. Very, very saffron rice. Exactly what you want. It's warm. It's soothing. It's calming. It's as if you're eating the best spaghetti in the world, something like that. Okay, it's comfort food. That's what it is. This is the Persian comfort food. Okay, here we are. I'm going to just leave it there for a second. We have our rice ready. We also have our barberries ready, which I'm going to add half. Yes, so I'm going to add it to the rice. I've changed my mind. Okay, so in the meantime, while I'm just waiting this to cool down a little bit, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexandra von Hahn. You're going to be wondering, where do I come from? I have the same story all the time, but I add a little twist every now and then. But it's the truth, by the way. My mother is Hungarian. She was born in Budapest. My father was born in Riga. He's German Balt. I kept my maiden name, von Hahn. I have 2 children. One was born in Germany, the other one in Iran, as I have said before. My husband was a German diplomat. He's retired now. And I was born, obviously, from the parents whom I've just mentioned, but in Chile. They escaped the war at the age of 17, 18. They had 3 children in Chile. We had to leave Chile because in preparation for the upcoming revolution in Chile, we left everything that we owned, so it's not new to me. And we started all over in Canada, in Quebec, where else? Then after that, after I went to work, I went to study, I graduated, went to work, met my husband, and we were posted, where? To Yemen. A lovely, lovely and beautiful country. You will be getting recipes from Yemen as well. Okay, shall we go back? We'll go back to cooking. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to mix the rice. I'm going to take the rice and mix it into the saffron mixture. So you can see how beautiful this rice is. It's par cooked, double, almost double, not quite, double in size. So by the way, for those of you who are curious, where did I get this colander? Where else? From the United Arab Emirates, from the Iranian market. That's how it works there. Okay. So this is, again, this is the stage where the gentleman who taught me how to cook this dish, he said, look, you don't just mix it. You mix it with love and you mix it with intention. And what would you like? What sort of intention do you have for that evening? What is your intention for the family? What is your intention for the guest who's coming? If you have a specific intention, have that in mind. And while you're mixing, you think of that intention. For example, you want a meeting, or you have tenants who owe you money and they're coming for dinner, or you're bringing them tajin as a gift or a portion. If you don't like them, give them a portion. Otherwise, you give them the whole one. I'm joking, you give them everything. But his idea is to crystallize your intention, transmit that energy to the food, and most likely that will be realized. I was so impressed by the way he said it. It was just amazing. He was lovely. A very thin, bearded man, and slowly and surely doing his thing. How lovely. Totally lovely. So I'm going to mix it now. Look at the beautiful color. This is beautiful. This is a color that they also absolutely to use on their, when they color fabric or carpets, especially the fabric for women, which they mostly use at home, of course, as you know. Although when I lived there, I had to wear the manteau, a long coat down to the floor, and I had to wear my scarf, which actually was the length. The scarf was up to here and square and knotted very elegantly, so it won't look terribly European. And the coat and the length of the arm had to be here, because if you had it up to here, it would indicate it's very sensual and very sexy, and you're actually calling for attention from the male species. So what did I do? I did this. I had it right down to here just to make sure. If I wanted to wear nail polish at that time, which is what I'm doing now, I had to wear gloves. So I decided not to wear any makeup, with the exception of the charcoal inside the eye. That I was allowed to. So, but today we don't have to wear that length of coat. We can wear them up to the knee, slightly open. We can now show a cleavage. Can you imagine? And a forelock. Can you imagine this? What a difference. But you get used to it. We had a Canadian lady, not from an embassy. She didn't wear anything under her coat. And she was very proud of that. Can you imagine? Anyway, the government didn't find out. So I have my mixture ready. And we're going to pour it into this form. Now, what I would like you to know is there are different shapes. The Iranians, the Persians, the Iranians, they work with shape. Everything has a meaning. It means beauty, aesthetics. I honor you. I make the effort of finding a mold that is square or oval or round or two squares or two ovals. It's nothing is for nothing. In other words, there is a reason why the form or the shape was chosen, because the decoration also is part of the shape. So in this case for tonight, I've chosen square. It's more traditional, and yet many Iranians from the south will say, no, 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 it's the oval one, which is more traditional. So we have everything going. Then we have in Tehran saying, no, it's the circle. That's the one that we all use. So you have the option, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pour this into the mold. Only half to start with. We're going to spread it. There you go. And then half, or actually 1/3, just part of the some of the barberries. Beautiful color. The color of orange yellow with ruby color barberries, slightly fried in butter. And it gives that buttery berry. And if you can imagine a cranberry, although nothing close to cranberry, but it's the closest thing that I can give you as an example. These barberries have the slightly citric, buttery flavor, and all you feel like doing is just eating it all, you know, just spooning it. This is how good it is. Okay, now I'm going to pour. You can always put a lot more if you wish. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add the rest. There we go. And I'm just going to level it. And what's going to happen once this is baked, you will be able to simply flip it over. What you want to do, and I need to use the cover. Oh, you can't find the cover. It doesn't matter. We're going to use aluminum foil. Here we go. Okay. We're going to use the aluminum foil. This is just to make sure that the steam does not escape. And if you're against using aluminum foil, you can place baking sheet under the aluminum foil inside, so they will not touch the aluminum foil. And again, I'm going to cover this just to make sure it's a double covering. And if you want to write down, this will be in the oven for about 80 minutes, 80 to almost 100 minutes. So at 80 minutes, you will check if it's beautifully crisp and orange color at the bottom, which means you have to lift it with your oven mittens. Check at the bottom. A little difficult, a little challenging, but try it. And if it's beautifully crispy, then it's finished. I had it in the oven between 80 and 100 minutes, actually close to 95 minutes. So it depends on the oven. Standard is 80. Okay, now I'm going to just slip it into the oven. And it will stay at 200 Celsius, upper and lower heat, between 80 and 100 minutes. Check after 80 minutes, 80. And now, magic will take place. We're going to pretend that I zapped it and it's all baked. I actually finished one before and I'm going to show you how to flip it. So I made a round one so you can have an idea. This is typically for Tehran. This is how it looks like once it's baked. It's slightly cooled so that I can touch it. Now, for those of you who will be baking this at home, if it's not cool, please wear your oven mittens and flip it. How do you do it? So you have a tray, the tray of your choice. If it's round, you can put it round, or you can also put round or a very large oval. And this is the vegetarian version. And some of these tahine are mixed with chicken, breast of chicken. So here we go. I'm going to hold it both sides and flip it. There we go. Now this is our tahine flipped, but the idea now is to decorate it. It's beautifully crisp. What is very important, along the sides, towards the middle, and some ovens, my oven doesn't seem to reach right up to the center. But most of your ovens will most likely be able to have it all crispy. But that is of no concern at all. I'm going to now bring this over to the other side. And we're going to start to decorate it. Now, I'm going to ask my husband, my son, to show us the possibilities of using barberries, slivered almonds. Almonds grow in Iran. Almonds and pistachios, typical for Iran. And we also have almonds, slivered almonds, raisins, and finally we can use the roses. These roses come from India. These thicker ones are from India. They're slightly pale in color, not always, but most of the time. And the ones from Morocco are stronger in color and have a very, very, very strong fragrance. Now, what I want to say also, if it's optional. For tonight, I did not use, but if you want to use rose water in your tahine, then you put in 2 tablespoons into the mixture, and you have also rose water. Some like it, some don't. I love it, but the rest of the family prefers it without the rose water, so I didn't use it tonight. Under normal circumstances, try to use it. Just so lovely. These are, if you can pretend, just close your eyes, pretend that you're smelling your favorite red roses. It's the red rose that gives the fragrance in this particular case. So if you can, just pretend, just breathe in, breathe out, and pretend that you're smelling beautiful fragrance, the most exquisite fragrance of rose water. And then intensify that. Intensify the memory of the fragrance of the roses that you used to smell by 3 or by 5. That's how intensive the rose water is in that bottle. You can also order it from Amazon if you wish, or go to your closest Arabic or Turkish store. And here we go, we can come a little closer. It comes from Lebanon. Absolutely lovely. And if you don't have perfume at home, you can use that quickly perfume. You smell beautiful roses. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to decorate it. We're going to start with pistachios, and you're going to crush your own pistachios, and that gives you the best flavor that you can possibly imagine. Here we go. So if you can get pistachios whole, if you cannot get them whole, buy them in the shell, and you can de-shell them yourself and crush them here. Lovely, without salt, without the salt. Okay, here we go. And if some of the pistachios remain whole, that's fine. They actually complement the shape and the size of the roses, green and ruby red and purple. The green is now coming to the surface. I'm crushing more and more. Almost there. Okay. So what are we going to do? We can make a plan. We can have a cross or a circle in the middle and have two bands going, one left and one right. Let's try the one with the band and have the pistachio going here. And I'm going to then use the barberries in the center. I'm going to try to make a circle with this here. There we go. So we have the circle and we have the pistachios here. What is it? It's beginning to look like a ring, and that's the whole idea, by the way. That's the whole idea. It's a piece of jewelry. Iranians love jewelry, especially when it's very heavy. And with lots of diamonds, lots of rubies, lots of gold. Silver less, but silver as well. And if silver, then white gold. Silver looking. So we have here, we're going to fill this area. So we're beginning to decorate it. And then all around it, we're going to encase the ruby. The decoration is everything, absolutely everything, and the flavor, of course. So there we go. It's a little shorter here, a little longer there, and that's fine. And now we're going to use the almonds. You can stay there, Nikolai. I will bring the almonds. Okay, now just around it, we're going to spread the slivered almonds. And here we're going to, we can actually decorate it this way with other gemstones. There we go. There. And then the rest goes here. And more barberries, which we're going to put on the side. And here we go. A little more of the almonds. Just a little around the side. And now the raisins on the side. And last but not least, we also want roses. We cannot do without roses. Into the ruby. And the roses, they taste wonderful. They're a bit dry, but it's mainly for decoration. And if you want to reuse the roses, reuse them in your tea. With hot water, a little bit of saffron, and a little bit of sugar. Absolutely lovely. So here we go with a little more. And now I'm going to get the leaves, the rose leaves. I'm going to crush these roses. Get the green stem off. And now here we go. Just going to drizzle them. And it all smells of roses now. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. We'll put a little more roses. Rose petals, actually. There we go. We'll drizzle a little more. Here we go. And what we should not forget, absolutely not forget, nothing, no dish in Iran goes without freshly cut herbs, and especially mints, and I have them all in my garden. So we have the mint here, and we have other herbs. We can put them all into one area here if you wish. The idea behind it is to add chlorophyll, or the green juice, the chlorophyll, which is, it fills the blood with oxygen. And it also provokes digestion, which means you're eating a small bite of your rice and you're eating the greens, and you alternate back and forth. This is to activate the digestive juices and, of course, activate the bowel movement, to be precise. Okay, and then we have here some more of these herbs. And there has to be a little bit of onion as well. There we go. So, and here we go. So this is the finale of our tahine. You can serve it cold, you can serve it warm. It's served like a cake, which means a little triangle. Oh, and I have some more barberries, which I forgot. How can we forget? You can. There has to be barberries on the side as well for the highlight. This is just to activate the flavors everywhere with a little bit of butter. Nothing goes without butter in Iran. The more butter, the better. But it's always, always balanced. The flavors are always balanced. It's never greasy, or at least I've never had that experience. Here we go. Some more. And do you see any names, Nikolai?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, no questions.
Before I finish, I'm not going to finish so quickly, but if you can tell me who you are, if you want to.
From the beginning?
How many are you?
Right now we're 6 people.
Fantastic. Okay. So we have the finished product. And once again, thank you for coming on board, all of you, and for staying on board as well. I'm going to show you this ladle. And there's a reason why I'm showing you. It's silver, sterling silver. It's Iranian, not Persian. This one here is Iranian. It was made during the Iran era. Pre-Iran era. The silver ladles, I have 1 or 2, but they are in the boxes, as you can see behind me. We've had a flood, and we're still living in from our boxes, and I can't find it right now. I'm not going to look for it, but I have this one here. And this is called the rice ladle, silver, and the design is also typical that of Iran. This is to allow the rice to be able to be scooped up. Just to give you an example, I'm going to move over. It has a very short handle. Most of them have longer. The shorter ones are for the smaller families. The longer ones are for the larger number of families. So you can actually extend your arm with the length of the handle and serve the rice. I have raw rice here, and I'm just going to show you. It's just a normal ladle, a rice ladle, in which you can scoop the rice and place it directly onto the plate. And the idea is that the rice is never packed. When you cook, it's always just lightly, very lightly moved and scattered. And the same thing when you're serving. It's not packed in one go. And if you happen to be in Iran, and if you're going to be visiting Iran, if we ever have that chance again, which I hope we do, with the hands, some do eat with the hands, but it's very rare. They eat with the fork and the spoon. Why? This is to facilitate eating, and also the digestive juices, which means you don't have to cut. There is no such work. You're going to be working outside, which means before dinner, you can work after dinner, but not while you're eating. So the meat is cut, pre-cut into very small pieces, into edible pieces or mouth pieces. Logma, as you say in Arabic as well, but you eat with the spoon. You eat the rice with the spoon, the meat with the spoon, the sauce with the spoon, and with the help of the fork. It's usually fork and spoon, spoon and fork. Very, very elegant. And the Iranians today are also very elegant. An elegant way of eating, an elegant way of welcoming you, and a very elegant way of presenting their food. And that is their whole idea behind it. Beautifully decorated with minimum amount. We didn't have many spices, but at the same time, we've had the most expensive spices going and expensive nuts going, yes. But it is available locally in Iran. Although they have some shortage of rice because of lack of water, but they're balancing that out by purchasing the rice from Pakistan. Unfortunately, that's how it is. But at any rate, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you. I will be from now on once a week, every Thursday. It will be next week in German. I will be alternating in English, German, German, English. And for those of you who speak German, if you'd like to join me next Thursday, you're most welcome to do so. Otherwise, I will meet you the following, which means 2 Thursdays from now, for those of you who want to listen to me in English. And I will be going back to most likely Emirati recipes, where I may choose a surprise recipe from Yemen. We'll see. Okay, thank you so much again, and take care of each other. Bye-bye.